Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, I'm going to take a look in the Soulforge and tell you what I think is good and bad in there, what's worth crafting and what you should avoid. As well as that, we have a fantastic new glory troop to look at. This thing sounds absolutely superb. We'll talk about that in just a second. But anyway, a man tells his doctor, "Doc, help me, I'm addicted to Twitter." Doctor replies, "Sorry, I don't follow you." Oh, dear me. Anyway, onto this troop. Oh, what's this weapon? Boom, boom. Let's take a look at this. Explode 3 gems, deal 41 scatter damage. Nah. Anyway, Priest of Nilbog. Take a look at this glory troop. He's a Yoda on a diet, basically. That is what happened. Yoda had gone on a crash course diet. He's lost some of that bulk, and he's slimmed right down, and that is pretty much what he'd look like. And he's gathered a couple of groovy earrings to finish the look. Anyway, glory troop, only going to cost you your glory. Suggest getting this thing absolutely, if you can only afford one, just get it, because it's I think this is going to be really good. Gives magic +1 life to all allies, regardless of where they're from, and barriers all goblins. So in a goblin team, you're going to get life and barrier, and gains an extra turn, which is standard for goblins. So if it's on a goblin team you're fighting, this is going to make goblins potentially more annoying. Obviously, you do have to take out a standard goblin from one of the normal goblin teams to make this work. But I can see really, really good potential in this, because barrier and life means goblins are going to be around for more turns, because you have to hit them once to take away that barrier. And then they've got more life, which means they're probably going to survive the next bit of damage or whatever. So they're going to be around for longer in the battle, and if a goblin is around for longer, that gives them more chance to get more mana, which gives them more chance to get going again and do the crazy loop-the-loop goblin thing they love to do. Allied goblins gain 2 life is the first trait. All allies gain 2 random skill points, 2 random skill points even is the second trait, and summon a leaf storm at the start of battle is the third one. So that'd be really good in a team of goblins with a couple of them use green, which there are many. So I love this thing, really high potential. I'm going to give this a super solid 9 out of 10. Very, very good indeed, but not quite up there with Centurion and Balder in levels of fantastic troops we've got from the glory side of things. Right, anyway, like I say, shove this all the way up to mythic level if you can. You're going to pick up a load of extra gold, more glory keys, arcane planes, trait stones in this case, as well as enough to get this thing to mythic, which gives you another troop you can get to level 20, which is going to aid your power level kingdoms in the long run. Whilst you're here, you can pop to resources and grab 10 lots of the spoils of war. Always good to do. Just for the event keys, you get a little bit of gold and some souls and even more treasure maps. You're just going to throw in that room of treasure maps and think, what the hell am I going to do with all these? Right, onto the Soulforge and the weapons. Doomed Breaker. Deals magic-based heavy splash damage to an enemy. +4 per tempering level, and stun all green enemies, cleanse all green allies, explode 4 gems, and if the enemy has a doom, explodes 3 more. So yeah, not amazing for me. Very, very situational. You have to have a lot going on to get the most out of this weapon. To make the most out of this, you have to have a all green team against an all green enemy, and one of them enemies has to be using a doom at the same time or have a doom on the side. So yeah, pretty situational. Can be effective when that situation comes up, but how often is that situation going to come up? Anyway, not essential. Not essential at all. Alright, as we got. Must be more. Flesh Ripper. Eliminates all armor from an enemy. Already good on those super high level enemies that have a load of armor. All that armor is going to be gone in one go. Then deal a magic based damage boosted by armor eliminated at 3-to-1 ratio. So can be good. Uses red and yellow, which is good because some of the other armor rippers like Mang and Earth's Fury use red and brown. So if for whatever reason you needed to change the colour but still wanted a armor ripper, then this thing is really, really good indeed. Like it a lot. Norbert's Turnip. classic goblin weapon here. Deals damage to an enemy boosted by goblin allies. Then create a mix of 6 green and red gems for each goblin ally. So really good. And one of the things about this is it has that quick part of the upgrades. If you see it there under treacherous, says quick. That is actually an extra turn. So this has an extra turn. So if you have a goblin team and the other allies use green and red, because this uses brown and yellow, then this is absolutely superb for generating mana for them. Dagger of Zygen. Now this is only a epic weapon, but I thoroughly recommend getting it. Absolutely essential as Norbert's turnip, if not better in certain situations. I'm not even kidding. Removes all green gems, deals damage to an enemy boosted by the gems removed, and if the enemy is from Zygen or if the battle is in Zygen, so really good against goblins, deal double damage. And again, it has quick. This is an extra turn weapon again. So you can take all those green gems away, deal damage boosted by that, and then double that damage if against goblins. So really good against goblins. Only uses 9 mana cost. Really good indeed. Absolutely essential. Grab that thing. Only 75 diamonds. Absolutely superb. Really love that. Lots of good weapons here. This is going to be a interesting one because all 3 of these I would definitely grab if you don't have them already. Face stick. Basically just get whacked in the face by that, basically. Deal splash damage to an enemy. Explode 8 gems of one of their mana colours. So, okay damage. Decent mana gen, but not as good as the others. Hack job. Loads of weapons. Deal damage to an enemy boosted by Zygen allies. Then create a mix of 6 green and brown gems for each Zygen ally. So again, if your team fulfills those requirements, pretty good. Not bad at all. Godmother's Wand. Explode 3 gems and create a wish gem. Nah. Explode gems is okay, but then create a wish gem is the part sometimes it's not always going to work out in your favour. And a Gobsticker is the last one. Explode a load of green gems, magic +1. Grant a random status effect to all goblin allies, then summon a goblin troop. So a very good weapon. Love these explodey weapons that explode and gain mana, and they give a status effect, and then they have a summon as well. Really, really good. So that is fantastic as well. So many good weapons here. Wow. So Gobsticker, Dagger of Zygen, Norbert's Turnip, and Flesh Ripper, all extremely, extremely good in my opinion, and definitely worth picking up if you can. On to the troops. Let's take a very quick glance over who is in here. No one absolutely amazing. No one absolutely amazing. Apotheosis, worth grabbing if you can. Starts battles with a full mana. Green to skulls. Life to the first ally. Pretty decent. Ooh, a couple of good ones in here. String Fiddler, really, really good. Silences an enemy, explodes 11 gems with one of their mana colours and gains an extra turn. Very, very good indeed. Definitely worth the roll of a dice in here a few times. Because if you don't get that, you might get a Sunbird if you don't have it already. Scatter damage, boosted by my life, die and rise from the ashes. Really good. If you're a newer player and you don't have some of these, chuck a few purple summoning stones in there, see if Sunbird or String Fiddler pop up. No one particularly great in here. Although if you play Guild Wars and you face a lot of high level opponents, Gorbil may be worth chucking in one of your teams. 10% chance to devour a random enemy. If that happens, it can seriously turn the tide in any battle. And now onto the Mythics. Wild King. Let's start from the bottom and work our way up. Not going to go over all the troops that are here all the time. They're in other videos. But the Wild King. Fantastic. Top 5 Mythic probably. Definitely top 10. Enrages all allies. Gives them a bunch of attacks. That's to everyone. Then create a mix of 22 skulls and yellow gems. That is a set amount. That cannot be changed. So that is either going to work in your favour or not. Sometimes you can cast it and get tremendous damage and just load of deaths all over the place. Other times you can cast it and set up the opponent. Does work best in a team where you have the top troop entangled at first, just in case he casts that and you basically set up the opponent. But still, it works more times than not, and when it does, it's usually absolutely superb. The Wild King, absolutely fantastic. Astral Mother. Remove all gems of a chosen colour with no effect. I find it a bit of a shame. If this was with full effect, it might be a lot more effective. But with no effect, it's like reduces its value a bit. Then deals magic-based true scatter damage boosted by the gems removed at a ×5 ratio. So the ratio's pretty good. It can be a significant amount of damage, but no chance of an extra turn like a Queen Beatrix, for example, and things like that. But it is impervious, immune to all status effects, which is pretty good. And a 40% chance to give Reflect to a random ally when my turn begins is, again, fairly decent. You're going to ping back 50% of damage received when you have Reflect on an ally. So, but not great, but not terrible either. Standard Kurandara, not the enraged version, is here. Deal damage to an enemy boosted by Doom Skulls. Then convert yellow gems to Doom Skulls and conjure a Doomstorm. The thing I like about this is you can see if those yellow gems are going to convert to Doom Skulls first before you cast it. This is in your favour if you're playing it yourself. If you have this on your defence, then you're relying on the AI to cast this at a sensible time rather than just randomly and set up the opponent or have little effect. But yeah, still a decent troop and impervious, immune to all status effects, and Curse of Ruin, surprisingly good. 50% chance to curse all enemies when matching 4 or more gems. When you curse someone, it's going to imply to impervious troops, and that can take away things like immunity to devour and things like that. So really good for that third trait on its own, as well as being impervious, but a decent spell at the same time. Kurandara, very good indeed. Tian Yi deals heavy splash damage to an enemy based on your magic and stuns all affected enemies. Deal double damage if my attack is greater, and summon 1 to 3 monkey disciples. Steals 2 magic from the first enemy at the start of my turn is the best of the traits, even though Jinx is actually surprisingly good because that halves enemy gem masteries, which means they're not going to be getting mana surges anywhere near as often as they did before, which can actually affect things quite a lot. Normally works best towards the tail end of the team for reasons. Basically, it has a summon, and the longer it's around, the more it's stealing magic from the first enemy at the start of its turn. But fairly situational, can be quite good in certain teams, but far from absolutely essential to create. Just quickly go over these legendaries, because legendaries, I always say, or wait for them to arrive in normal chests. It's not worth spending your hard-earned diamonds on these. You're going to get these far easier than you will the mythics. First up, Zernabog. Creates 10 brown gems, a set amount, cannot be changed by your magic or player level. Then explode 36 gems in my case. That is base, that is magic +1 on the amount of gems you're going to explode. So the higher your magic, the more gems you're going to explode, but it's still effective even on a lowish number of gems. So really good in teams with Chalcedony and things like that, other constructs where you need brown. Absolutely superb. Reduce damage from skulls by 50%, and conjure a dust storm when my turn begins is brown. So again, super beneficial in a brown team. King Oberon. All Fey allies start with 50% mana is one of the main reasons for picking up this fella. And he gives life and 5 magic to all allies, then creates a firestorm and enchants all Fey. So it needs to be in a Fey team really, because he enchants all Fey allies, and Fey allies start with 50% mana. But again, if that situation comes up with that team, then pretty good. Essenzia. All dragon allies start with 50% mana, so very good in a dragon team, and works really well with those new gem dragons we're getting, because the high mana cost, that halves that absolutely straight away. Summons 1 to 3 dragon spirits. If there was already a dragon spirit in my team, explode 10 gems. So you don't need to put a dragon spirit in there. You can have this at the tail end of the team, and then when you cast it, if you've got a vacant slot, you've had someone die in your team, you're going to create a dragon spirit, so that can help it. And Queen Moonclaw. Creates 9 skulls. This is a set amount, boosted by green allies and enemies, and summon a random null. Not essential, but it can work okay in certain teams. But yeah, none of these legendaries here worth crafting unless you're really desperate for something to give one of your gem dragons a boost in fast mana, something like that. But yeah. But who's going to be the Mythic of the Week? Who gets my super not coveted Mythic of the Week award? Ooh. Kurandara or the Wild King? It's not going to be the other ones. Right, just because the way it works and because it's so usable in so many teams and how powerful that spell can be when it works, I'm going to give it to the Wild King. Absolutely love using him. Don't use Kurandara anywhere near as much as I use the Wild Kings. That is a gauge already to how good each one is. Whichever troop you use the most when you've got most of them already is a good idea. It's a good guideline. And how often you see them in teams as well. So the Wild King gets my Mythic of the Week. Very powerful indeed when that works. But best in a team where you can maybe entangle the top opponent first. Just in case those skulls miss. Anyway, there's a Soulforge video. I'll be back later on with my World Event team. So check that out if you fancy it. But thanks for watching this video. And I'll catch you again later. Bye for now.